Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Here we go. It is. And then I always got to make sure the volume's shut off. I can see the chat, and I think we're good. All right. Let's see. I think we're going.
Nice.
Oh, nice. I always like that. I always like an ad for Big Pharma before we start.
Perfect. That's what you're pushing, so everything's aligned.
All right. To my crowd out there, whoa, it's the illusion reporting from
The
illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. I'm here with Chris Dyer, artist, intergalactic traveler, plant medicine specialist, and all around good human being, man, that I discovered you when you sent me your book and your movie. And
nice.
What was that? 9 years ago.
Was that like MySpace days?
No, I've never MySpaced, but you sent me your book.
Nice. Yeah. Maybe it was like I saw you on YouTube. I must have seen you on one of the social medias. You didn't do MySpace, man. You missed out.
No, that's when I was on top of the hill, deep in my drug addiction and alcoholism, totally off the grid.
Oh, that sounds fun too, then. So.
It wasn't that much fun in the end. That was my dark journey.
One addiction or the other, I guess.
Well, I think you know what it is. I think that how that used to be when you used to send stuff out. People would send you things, and I had the thing in Thrasher magazine, and you're a skateboarder. Mm-hmm. I think was the thing. So I have a funny story about that. So I got your movie and your book, and I had kept it in my arsenal of stuff. And some years later, I got this thing with Juicy Rental Vans, and was getting comped vans for a while. This was 2014, the end of 2014. And I went out and I camped out on the edge of Area 51 one night, like right on the perimeter wire in Western Nevada, coming from the Death Valley side. And that was the night I watched your movie, was right on the edge of Area 51. And it was an experience I'll always remember of watching your journey. So
sounds very trippy, man. I hope it was a good combination.
It was one of those experiences I'll always it was ingrained into me.
Awesome.
So how you doing? So for my viewers, it's just a little more intro. Is I follow Chris on Instagram and see his videos and been a fan of his artwork. And I noticed a big life change since the haircut. Haircuts change our lives radically.
Great, man. I'm still a Rasta.
I know, brother. And so, but I saw your video the other week when you were talking about how your parents were up from Peru, and that due to the sauce, we have to call it on YouTube, your declining of the sacramental sauce to join the system had kept you separate from your parents when they were visiting with the rest of your family. And that touched me because I could hear it in your voice, what that meant for you. You seemed very family oriented, and I think you treasure this life experience very much.
Yeah, well,
when I reached out,
because I'm not the kind to be like, this is my beliefs and everybody's got to believe the way I do. And but in this world, it's like, other people's beliefs kind of like impose regulations and ways on your own life. And I gotta have these like fights and discussions with family members that I'd rather just get along with and be happy. But if they have a certain set of beliefs, aka following the mainstream narrative, As soon as somebody gets in touch with me for not being juiced up in the good old mainstream sauce, then I'm a danger, because I could pass on sickness to my parents, to their kids, and kill everybody. And I find that ridiculous. So then I fight it at the beginning, and then I was like, you know what? I want my beliefs to be respected, so I'll respect your beliefs. So just hang out with my parents for a couple of weeks. And now today, my parents moved to my place, so they'll spend the last week with me. So at least I get to hang out with them 1 week. And I see them in Peru plenty. I spend my winters in Peru, so it's not like I'd never see them. It was just kind of like weird that they were in Canada for weeks, and I couldn't even see them. So I'm very emotional and sensitive. I'm a Pisces, so I was it was a little bit triggering. But once again, I want to respect other and their personal beliefs as much as I want my personal beliefs to be respected. And yeah, hopefully we can all enjoy family time in the end.
Well, that's. I think we're on the same page about that, and very much so. Is the battle seems to be sort of a disrespect for people who've chosen not to participate in that narrative, and it's very hard. I mean, you're up in Montreal, correct?
Yes, Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
So you're in and I'm in California, but as we've seen, as the Commonwealths have really gone authoritarian about this whole thing, and I know Canada is one notch below the Australian gulag system, and so what's going on up in Canada? What is going on up in Canada?
Well, it depends on the province, but in general, our prime minister, which is the equivalent of a president, Trudeau, who when he started, I was like, oh, here comes in a cool guy to make things better. He started nice, and then now he's just gone fully, I don't know, fascist, just mean. Like he'll get on TV and be like, if you're like not juiced, you don't deserve anything. You don't deserve our pity. You don't deserve to be on the buses or airplanes. You're not gonna, and it's just getting kind of scary when he starts like pointing fingers at a certain minority that now has been created, the unjuiced. I like this term you've made me do, the juicing. And he's just being really aggressive, and I don't know where that's going to lead. But already there's a passport in my city, so I can go to restaurants, or I want to go to botanical gardens this weekend. And botanical gardens, big open, wide open space where nothing's going to happen, and I'm not allowed there. Movie theaters, bars. It's just really weird because never in my life I've gone to a place and be like, no, because of this medical decision, you're not allowed here anymore. You're a danger to us. It's like, but I thought your juicing made you protected against the badness out there. And if anything, I'm the one putting myself at risk, but that's my own call and choice. But it doesn't really matter. A lot of things don't make sense these days. But so that's happening right now. It's not the end of the world. I still go in and squeeze into some patios and restaurants that just choose not to ask, because a lot of these restaurants, they don't want to do this. They just don't want the $6,000 if they get caught. But yeah, the prime minister has already said that at some point he's going to make it that you can't fly or take public transportation. So right now my stress is like, oh shit, like I love Canada, I like living here, but I never get any work here, and it gets really cold during winter. I don't like spending winters here. I usually go to Peru, and most of my work is in the States. I got a work visa, and I go and I paint murals and do events, shows, etc. But if I can't fly there, or say the States just will close the borders by land, then I'm stuck in Canada indefinitely. And that will cut my ability to work and just stay sane, So it makes me very nervous. And I'm like, oh my God, should I sell my apartment and just duck out to the States and be a refugee? Like, I love my city and I love my friends and my home and everything. And it's really weird that all of a sudden I gotta like throw it all out to not not lose my freedom, because once they got me entrapped here and I can't leave, what's next? Because they just really want you to get juiced, and they already got these isolation camps they built. And I don't really know why they got these isolation camps, but they seem like they might use them eventually if they deem me unsafe. Meanwhile, in Saskatchewan, they're making these emergency rules where they're allowing the government to just do anything as long as it's for the safety of people. Anything as in they can take away your property, they can destroy your crops. Basically, it gives the government full power. None of this stuff is conspiracy theory. This is what's happening in Canada right now. Different than Australia. Australia is more, seems like they're going hardcore war on the streets. Here it's more kind of like Canadians are chill, no one's going to fight. They're just putting all these laws and no one's fighting it. Most people are getting juiced. Not a lot of people are questioning it. And those who are questioning it, like, of course, like going under heat or, you know how it is. Anyways, I just yapped for a bit. So this is
what
stress, and I can't sleep at night because I don't know if I should leave my country and be a refugee, or if I should just trust in the Most High Jah and know that everything will be okay no matter what happens, and that in the end the good guys win. And this is something I know, the good guys win in the end. And by the good guys, I mean everybody, both juiced and unjuiced. This is not like I'm the good guy and they're the bad guys. No, we're all good. And a lot of people being lied to, and they're being led into a path of a lot of separation, because maybe right now their rights haven't been taken away, but they have, said like, okay, I will use this app that allows me to be free as long as the government like allows it or whatnot. And that's a lot of power to be giving to the government that I wish the people would stand against. But Canadians are not like that, they're chill. So yeah, that's more or less what we're up to here.
Well, that's again, that's what struck me about why I wanted to reach out to you is it's a very, I mean, the same Los Angeles County, the Los Angeles city just passed that, the strictest in the country today or yesterday. So, we're in supposedly liberal California, it's gone very dark here on a level. And it's I would say it's a very similar thing as, the first thing they did was pass these mandates for the children. And, as an alternative lifestyle type of a person, like I was already aiming for homeschooling. And this is my boy, Owl. Owl, this is Chris. Come here. Come over and say hello.
What's up, Owl?
And so it's really real, and it's an intense time, right? Especially for spiritual warriors, right? Where we have to balance this lower realm, right? Like the 3-dimensional 5 sense realm is very, very much an illusion. I know you're quite aware of that, but we operate in it. We are in it, and therefore there's some trepidations. And what you said, even when we were contacting, is like, do I stay or do I go? What do I do? Where do I go? And what do I do? And how do I hold the line? And what is this looking like? And I don't know if there's an easy answer either. It's community, right? Like the one thing I'm sure of is the same thing you said when you started talking about Canada. The good guys win. And it doesn't matter if you're sauced or unsauced or wherever you are, the good guys win. But I see the fear out there. I can smell it. I can see it. It's very palpable, which is it's very strange, right? Like,
right. But you see the fear from who? From the sauced, who still, despite their saucing, they're still afraid, or from the unsauced who fear being put in jail for simply following their gut?
As the unsauced, I'm not afraid. There's terror. Like there's a terrifying monster in the ether that's lurking, right? And it's waiting for me to reveal myself with fear and anger and all these reactionary things. And no, the fear I see is from the sauce. Absolutely. The ones that have thought that if they did this, it will end. And you know what I mean? As a person who watches your journey and use of the plant medicines, right? Like the level of let it end seems to just be clamping on them even further, right? Like it's a very potent thing that's going on here. And
Right.
and as much as I'm above it, I'm also in it. Like I have to go to the market and see the scared people.
We can see the illusions of the world. Like basically, I always go back to like when I do my medicine journeys, I zoom out of the human experience and the being of Chris, whatever this means. And then I'm like, I don't know if like God, the absolute, or a different aspect of God that's a little bit more elevated, my higher self. And I'm on this like, spiritual video game chair in the matrix, and I'm controlling my avatar of Chris in the physical plane. And I see like, oh, it doesn't really matter what happens there on planet Earth in this life. It's just like we try our best and we know that eventually everything will go back to source and to God. So there's nothing to worry about. We're always in the hand of God. Things are safe. But then we zoom back in into our experiences, and it's like, well, I still don't want to suffer. I don't want to see the ones that I suffer. There's parameters and there is sickness and stuff like that. But there's also human law, and there's media, and there's lies and exaggerations. There's control. There's corporations that have always been doing all this fuckery for decades, and I've been a person who's been paying attention to that for decades too. As long as I've known what a corporation is, I can see how they've been misusing their power and controlling the media and being in cahoots with the government. So when this scenario proposed itself at the beginning, I was like, oh, let's see what happens. That's how this all plays out. And then very soon I was like, oh shit, that's how they're spinning it off. And this is to no disrespect to those who suffer, or to say that Corona or the virus doesn't exist. Of course it does. But you can put a magnifying glass on anything and it just can be like the biggest thing in the world. But I just walk around the world and I see just happiness and goodness, and I don't see the negativity that you could see when looking at the media and the TV that could activate your fear. And when we all just are like in this vibration of fear together, we're being convinced to vote and co-create the future.
Absolutely.
That fear attracts. What are you afraid of? Oh, I'm afraid of a future where I or my family dies. What are you afraid of on Juiced? Oh, I'm afraid of ending up in a totalitarian technocracy where we can't escape and we're half cyborgs and we're very unhappy and so on. So on both camps, there is fear. And for all of us, regardless of what our choice is, I think it's about getting a zoom out enough to not being like taken away by the current of that emotion and freak out and living in a state of anxiety and co-create the creation of that future we rather not have. So yeah, that's what I'm up to, at least. And it's not easy many days. I as I told you, I don't sleep many nights. I'm like, what should I do? What should I do? And then even just thinking like, oh, my parents are coming tomorrow, as in today. Do I have to fight with them when they ask me like, why don't I want to get juiced? It's just like, do I gotta like bring out all this stuff that to them will just like appear misinformation or conspiracy theory? But to me, it's coming from reputable doctors and PhDs, and they're just kind of like sharing their discoveries, but no one will listen to them because they're not on the mainstream and they're being censored, and whoever talks, they're being like just destroyed in their reputation because they really want this other side, the mainstream side of the story, to be the one that everybody buys. But you know, whenever I see something in the media that's pushed really, really strong, that's the one that I doubt the most. You know, it's like, oh, why are they pushing this so hard? You know, I mistrust it. You know, as I tell you, for like decades I've been looking at, you know, the relationship between corporations, media, politicians, and it's never, or rarely, it's a good thing. What's up, brother? You gonna come and hang out with us?
No, I'm just trying to pick a Lego Deadpool. Remember one of those? They're kind of like.
You want that guy? Yeah, take him out of there.
Totally fine.
He-
I'll totally listen.
It's okay.
I don't have the
The
Deadpool
Lego one.
Lego.
Daddy has a phone. Look. There's ones that are in bags or like missing, like thrift store stuff.
You wanna see my collection?
Wait. Chris is going to show you his Legos, dude.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Whoa! Oh my God! I have this thing. Oh, I have the Iron Man. We have that Spider-Man. We have that Batman. We have that. I don't know. I think we have all those kinds of figures.
Got a lot of super villains and a lot
Yeah, you can take your
and a lot of Simpsons.
Okay, we'll go. So we because we have limited time.
Being spiritual.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, there's the illustration right there. Is we talking about the thing, and there it is on perfect example of the youth and the children, and that's it's very much what are we going to co-create forward, and that was again why I wanted to reach out to you, because I know you're very much aware of the power of co-creation and what we're all doing together, and how important it is for us to communicate now more so than it would have been, you know, even a year ago, and be like, no, we're here, like we're here.
And dark mall, mine. This guy's mine. My dark mall.
Okay, hey, grab your thing and go, bud. Okay. All right, he'll go on. He'll take you on a tour, but it's
I would
very
love
much
to still have a kid, you know, like all of this, like, look, man, you know, I could be wrong, you know, like maybe the information I've been listening to could also be a lie, and maybe I'm the one who is straight. I can be like, you know, big enough to admit that, hey, maybe I'm the one in the wrong. But as a person who's always followed his gut and his intuition, I will follow that as opposed to being forced into a side. And if it is true that this juice would make it that I no longer can have a child, I don't want that. You know, I'm 42. I'm kind of late, like to be starting a family, but I haven't done that yet in my life. I've done a lot of really great art projects, and having a child would be a really nice experience that I still want to do. So for that, I don't want to, like, you know, take the juice and, you know, and I don't know, like what the price will be for me to do that, you know, like maybe I'll, you know, have to lose my city, have to lose my apartment and my community in order to become a refugee. And I'm just really want to stay strong with that, you know. Well, I guess we'll see, you know, we'll see what happens in a couple of years. We'll see what happens in 5 years. And I've been told
seems
by
like the clock's
yeah,
seems like the clock's moving a lot quicker than that, though, right? I mean, if you would,
they're acting like they're freaking out. It's like, no, okay, we gotta like put them all on the lock like soon, because soon it will be kind of obvious that what's happening is there's something wrong. Even though to me it's very obvious, there's a lot of things that are wrong, that are not really clicking, and I'm kind of surprised when people are just like, what are you talking about? The government's just taking care of us, and the media's never lied to us. Like, what? You know, it's like,
it's
are you
very
that
bizarre.
naive? But I don't want to insult anybody, you know, like,
No, I'm
I
with you.
want to
I don't.
respect people in their level of wherever they're at, and
Well,
people just want to be calm and go back to their old lives and not have to, you know, suffer. So I get it why some would just want to like take the easy way out, but that's the thing. It won't be the easy way out. It never is.
It's well, that's what's so interesting, right? When you, my little bit, even doing this right now, is I think the reason they're absolutely panicking is I don't think they've got this in the bag. I think there's I think metaphysically speaking, like we're so much more powerful than we even understand. And even to those of us who know this, I don't think we realize how truly powerful we are as creation, you know. And they're trying to tamp it down. Right. So like what you and you know, and you get to this life force thing.
No, I agree.
Just so you know, I didn't have Owl till I was 45. So I started. So just so you know, it happens when it's supposed to. And the beautiful thing is it happened later in life where I could be focused to him as my being. Like he picked me at a good time. But it's very, you know, I have a 16-year-old stepdaughter, and to see that it's a very different experience for her than me, than him, right? Like it's very interesting to watch because it is very much the risk of the ability to procreate and move your genetic code into time and space. It's alarming. And I puzzle that people aren't. I get why people aren't aware. They never were aware anyhow, right?
Yeah.
we got.
I'd be okay not having a kid, but ayahuasca has told me many times that I gotta pass on my energy forward to keep on doing the work that's being done through me, through that being. So I'm just kind of like, all right, cool. Well, I don't even have a partner right now. I'm a divorced man, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, so something you said that was really resonated is that we got the power. And humanity has been evolving. And yeah, we've had our face rubbed in the dirt these last couple of years, but that's a good thing. You know, that's a purge. And that's like the fucking ceremony that we all been going together as a planet. And we're still puking. We're still fucking throwing up. We're still on that part of the ayahuasca ceremony as a global community. And it's looking bad, and it's looking scary and not that fun. And it might have to last a couple more years, hopefully not that much longer. But hey, I'm just kind of like, I accept whatever has to be. Once again, through the medicine, you gotta kind of like be ready to die at any point. And it kills you a million times. It chops you up into pieces so that you know that you're not this thing, and not to be too attached, that you're like so much bigger. But once all of us get chopped into pieces and we just kind of like, you know, accept that we're here to be liberated, and we start accessing our powers, nothing will be able to stop us. Like, you can't beat God. You know, whenever I see God versus the mind or negativity, it's like they're playing chess, and God's like, hey, I'm God, what you gonna do? Like, I'm always gonna have the next move, and I'm gonna beat you in the end. And you can keep on moving your pieces all you want, mind, devil, negativity, whatever you want to call it. I'm still God. What you gonna do? And he's still gonna like win. And we just gotta have like trust that every single move is exactly precise and beautifully aligned for us to become whoever we need to become, both as individuals and as a community. So when I go to bed at night and I'm stressed out, and I do my rapé before going to sleep to calm down, I just say like, trust, have faith, believe everything will be good, try to be grounded in love. Just know that everything will be good in the end. So just keep on being strong and going through this. This is what you trained for all these years.
Let me ask you about that. That's a very, so you're going through this experience essentially as a individual unit, which we all do spiritually speaking, but like physically, like as you go to bed, you're going to be in your apartment alone tonight in this crazy mad world that we live, and wake up in this space by yourself. I have my little dude in my family, right? Which allows me to sort of focus my energy differently. Like when that real, like I'll be up at night, like in terror sometimes about my family. Like, what do they have to face, and being the male patriarchy of our family, and like having to keep the garage full of food and lead and all these things to defend their right to go on their spiritual journey, right? And the protector of their journey, which allows me to sort of escape myself, so to speak. When, like, as much as that's terrifying, I can still walk over to my son's room in the middle of the night and look at him and be like, okay, like, that's my 100% reason why I'm not going to slip into the darkness, right? Like, I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. I'm not going to, all of those things. Like, I can't run. You know what I mean? It's, so how is that? How is that?
Being alone?
But I know you're not, like, because all of us are alone, but we have God. Like, you have God very, very much as I do. So we can do this thing, but Canada's it's cold, and the whole thing is what is your practice to keep yourself in tune when you wake up into the new day and it begins again? Does it hit you, or do you art or yoga, or what is it that you do to keep yourself in tune with the day ahead?
Right. Well, to answer your first question, yes, I live alone, and I don't have a girlfriend, and I don't have a family, and my parents are visiting from Peru, so they're here for a couple of days, but once they're gone, I'm back to being alone. Being alone is good because I guess there's less people I gotta worry about. Like, say, I imagine if I had a kid and it's like, oh shit, like, if I don't get this one right, I don't leave the country in time or whatever, and I lose my ability to make money, now I can't feed him. So it's like double the pressure. But being alone is like, well, at the end of the day, it's only me who's dying, and I can be strong enough to go through that. I don't have to make anyone else suffer because of my mistakes or choices. But yeah, like, being alone at home, my mind just thinks and thinks and thinks. Like, say, if I had a partner, maybe I could have a conversation with her before I go to sleep, and then that kind of like lets me get it out, and then I can go to sleep, as opposed to laying in bed and me just like fucking looping all this bullshit. Now you're asking me what's my practice to get out of it, and I'm a busy dude. Like, I got a lot of art to do. I got like endless to-do lists. Like, I own a corporation myself. You see how corporate I am. I own a little clothing brand, and I've got art and logos to do, and human duties. So that keeps me busy. But sometimes I know when I'm like, I had a girlfriend recently, and because I always leave town, she didn't want to get her art broken, so that was that. So I just got to know when to call in my friends and be like, hey guys, come over, let's have a paint jam, or let's meet in the park and paint in the park. Skateboarding when I can, nice weather, I'll go on and get a good session. That will really help me, and that will keep me going for a couple of days, just the energy of that. But yeah, in general, I try to duck out of Canada by the time real winter comes in, like late November, early December, and it starts snowing. I get the fuck out to Peru, where summer is just beginning. And I stay in my apartment there that I have in my parents' land. I got the luck that they got a little piece of land in this valley in nature, and I got my apartment, and I'm well situated. And even if they quarantine the hell out of us there, I'm just chilling because I'm making art in the sun, and that's good enough for me. I like running. I know I didn't like running a couple of years ago, but once COVID hit, I just started running Forrest Gump Park, and I just get as much energy out. It's a good way to get the frustrations. I guess like physical activity in general, and art grounds me. So yeah, anyways, that's a little bit of how I'm trying to cope. But I'm a very sensitive person, and that's good for like artistic perceptions, and maybe some kind of like, I don't know, spiritual tapping or whatever. But then it makes it sometimes like your nerves have less protection, and things affect you more. Yeah. So like when I'm like getting honest online about like what I'm going through in a country where there's like passports, people will just start attacking me simply for not getting the juice, as opposed to just respecting me. And my journey of this whole year has been like, don't give a fuck what other people think about you. And I had to go through some really hard episodes with cancel culture and judgment. in order to know, like, Chris, you know who you are, you know what you've done and what you've not done, feel comfortable and happy in yourself. And that kind of like gave me enough power to be like, you know what, I'm going to share my truth. And yes, people, half of them might hate me or be angry at me or unfollow me, and may I lose some popularity in some business. But what the fuck, like, you know, like, why am I here? To be popular, to make money? Like, I'll be fine either way. But like, if I don't speak my truth at the time where humanity, we should all start communicating better, you know, and talking our truth, and with respect to, you know, that others might not agree with it. And, you know, I just don't want to fight, you know, like, I wish we could just like share where we're at. And if you don't agree, you don't agree, and move along, you know, and follow your life according to your own set of beliefs. But it seems like everybody else wants everybody else to believe like them. And we all 100% have to do this thing together. It's like, no, let's be united, but let's be united in our differences, in our respect for each other's choices. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Well, that's funny you said that, because I've been talking a lot about our differences are what make us the same. You know, is that we have all these, we are all these unique beings. And let me ask you from your observations, because I've watched, like, I've watched your journey a lot lately, and I've watched you transgress that very difficult times some time back recently, from the hair cutting on. It was very profound to watch.
It was all like alignment after alignment.
Second, Chris. Well,
Yeah.
Can you help me out here, please?
Father duties.
No, he'll just sit out there and tappity tap tap tap, like what was the what was the movie? It was tappity tap tap tap. You can keep it knocking, but you can't come in.
I don't know.
I want to say it was the golfing
Jacob Miller.
I know when it first began, you were down in Peru, correct? And I watched you do your thing in Peru, and then your journey back after the haircut and all this energy that came for you. When you re-entered Canada, it wasn't as dire as it is now. That was what, 8 months ago when you came back?
I re-entered Canada was like 2 months ago.
Oh, okay.
But I got not lucky, but I kind of like stayed outside of Canada because they started doing this whole like jail hotel situation where like you arrive and they'll put you in an hotel for 3 days till you get your results, but you got to pay for the hotel. And they were like, it's going to cost you $2,000 for 3 days in an hotel. And I was like, fuck that shit. Like, why can't I just go to my apartment? Like, I live by myself. Like, why are you going to put me in a hotel when I got my own apartment? And you just got to trust me because I'm fucking like, you know, I'm not a criminal, and make me pay for it and all this shit. So I was like, I'm not going to go back to Canada until they eliminate that rule. By the time I got back a couple months, they had like lifted it up because I guess enough people got vaccinated, then they felt it was safe again. I went by land. I walked through the border, you know, behind cars. Like there's like car in front of me and a car behind me because I don't drive. I never really learned. And I took an Uber to the border, but the Uber didn't want to take me all the way. And he left me in the middle of the road. So then I had to start walking with my suitcases in the middle of the highway. And then I hitchhiked, and some dude was like, what the fuck are you doing in the middle of the highway with 2 suitcases? You're so not your usual hitchhiker with a backpack. Takes me to the border, and yeah, they just it wasn't so difficult to get in because, you know, they got an app, which I was really resisting to do, but it's an app that kind of like you already tell them when you're arriving, if you got your negative test to go in, where you're quarantining. So by the time I get to the window, he knows everything about me. He's like, okay, yeah, we were awaiting you, and now just go to your home and do your 2 weeks quarantine. What was weird is that like I got picked up by another unjuiced friend who drove me that hour and a half to Montreal, and they didn't never really even ask about that. So there's so many inconsistencies and holes and things that make no sense. It's almost like they just kind of like want to make it really annoying for you.
I think it's a bluff. I think that it's all it's paper at tigers. I think it's tissue paper. When I poke at it enough, because I mean, on that thing, I've spent a lot of time delving into what is going on. Cause I'm like you, I've been studying this and watching it go on for decades now, you know, and being like, it's coming. And when it showed, I'm like, okay. For me, like my first clue that it was a lot of smoke and mirrors was in California in the beginning. They're like, we can't test everyone because we don't have enough cotton swabs. And I was like, wait a minute. Like like I came from the school of like, it's an organized takeover. And they go like, we don't have enough cotton swabs. I was like, wait, you don't have enough cotton swabs to do your dance? Interesting. And I've been pulling those kind of threads of, I don't think the system can do what everybody's committed, why they sauce themselves to do it. First of all, I just don't think the technology's ever been there. I think it's a lot of bluff.
I can't get on here, which is a public place, and start saying that I know truly what's going on, what's the levels, what the true numbers are. I got a lot of suspicion that a lot of it's bullshit, but I don't really like, you know, I'm definitely not a scientist or a stats dude. I'm just a dude with intuition.
Sure.
And my intuition smells a pile of bullshit. And I'm not pushing it, my belief on anyone else. I'm just living according to my own personal beliefs. And I feel there's a lot of abuse. There's definitely a lot of laws that are being broken. The passport is totally unconstitutional, goes against the Charter of Rights. It's segregation, it's discrimination. It's wrong. And I really wish that juiced or not, Era would be like, okay, like I got juiced or whatever, but I still don't think you should reject a person based on their personal, you know, decisions of how to.
Well, those pastors up there have been getting hammered. Like I follow a lot of the pastors, like Pastor Pulaski and all those pastors. They've been kicking in the door and arresting, and it's very interesting.
It's getting pretty nasty and weird and just incorrect according to what I feel is the relationship between a government and its people. The government's here to serve us, not to rule us or control us or to make us all a bunch of like criminals based on what they think is a crime or not. Like all of a sudden being unjust is a crime. That is the crime. To make up a crime out of nowhere, you know, like it's you know.
Did you ever imagine in the journey, right, as out there as we can perceive these things as artists and creative minds and explorers of alternate realities, right? Did you ever really envision it would be this kind of stupid brutal at the same time, where you're like, it's a kind of a Monty Python skit mixed in with the worst totalitarian nightmare ever? It's like, whoa, what are we looking at?
It's interesting, and to some degree, I'm very grateful. It's very interesting. It's like being in a really cool movie, and I got my role.
Yes.
As I imagine everybody else, in my perspective, living inside my body, I'm the center of my own universe, and I'm the hero of my story. I could imagine with you, and hopefully it's the same for everybody else, you know. And I got this like meat puppet avatars, like, okay, what's the hero of the story gonna do? Is he just gonna like go along with what everybody else is telling him to do, or is he gonna go along with his instinct? Is he, you know, and the information is coming from every angle, and you're just trying to be like, okay, what's up and down, and the confusion is what is making everybody having the hardest time, because information keeps on changing every day, and a lot of true information is being censored. So yeah, I've never imagined this is how it was all going to be played out, but you know, making the most out of it. And at some point I'll die and I'll think it was like a really cool, hilarious, you know, video game, virtual reality comic book that I lived, and I'll be grateful for putting myself in that position through that experience.
Well, but you know what I've noticed is something that it fascinates me too, is the people that were really the anti-systemers, right? The like, we're DIY, anti-system, punk rock, we're against the big corporations. They seem to be the biggest promoters of this thing, which is, like I've noticed the punk rock community is just fully gotten on board with it. And I'm like, but you guys were all the F you don't tell me, you know, like it's and all these the environmentalists have signed up with these evil I don't like it's bizarre to me that the people that are actually like hyping this the most are the ones that a number of years back would have been like, these are the most evil people on the planet. And now you're like hyping it can only be explained as like mind control, right?
Right. I'm guessing like it's always comes from good intentions. Like, I'm not gonna say like, oh, all the people that once I thought were good now are bad. It's not a good or bad thing. It's like, okay, how did they get in through the back door of, I guess we're calling these people the left? Is it that they watch a certain news channel that influences them to think that if they do this, it's what good people do, and the other people are just crazy madmen, and we gotta crush them down? It's very divisionary kind of way of thinking, and maybe they use that punk attitude as like, okay, well, now we gotta crush these stupid people on the other side of the spectrum. But to resonate with what you said, there's a lot of people in the street art community that have gone, you know, not only have they been juiced, but they'll get on their platform and be like, come on, everybody, we all got to get the juice. And if you don't get the juice, you're a dummy. Judgment, you know? And I'm just like, damn, man, like you're using something that used to be anti-system, anti-government, anti-oppression, and now you're using it to help them oppress those who just dare to stand against the almost crippling anxiety of, you know, the walls are closing in on us who don't get juiced, and they're not helping out. And once again, I think they're coming from good intentions because they believe that this thing will stop the problem, even though already we can see that the juice is not working, it's leaky, it's probably even making mutations and etc. And it seems like there's a lot of people getting hurt by it too, you know, most of it not being reported. But I definitely know people in my own life. I've probably heard more people getting hurt or even died from the juice than from the virus itself. But this is just anecdotal, and I'm sure it's maybe different to anybody else. So it's all about perspective. But at the end, I wish we could all just kind of like respect each other. Like they can be like, okay, I'm gonna get my juice, but I'm gonna get it and just shut the fuck up and live my life according to my own beliefs. I don't have to go out there and push it on others, or say that those who don't get it are like idiots or bad or deserve to be hurt in any way.
Weird.
It's too bad. It's too bad because, like, you know, these movements that used to go against this, the current, as you said, are now helping the current, making it even more difficult. But you know what group of people I observed don't buy it? You know, it's the people who do the medicine, the shamanic people. I don't think I know one person in the shamanic community, people who do ayahuasca and like in a ceremonial, respectful way, and touch base with spirit. The messages to them are always like, stay away from it. It lowers your consciousness. This is a battle of consciousness right now. And the juice will lower down your consciousness, and just hold on to your principles and don't sell out. This is almost like a test to see, what will it take, Chris? What will it take for you to sell in? Do you love your toys that much? Do you love your records that much? Do you love your apartment? Well, can you let it all go in order to live your truth? You know, are you that strong? Are you that liberated, Chris? This is like, you know, the ultimate test. And this is just an inner thing between me. I'm not saying that this is to anybody else. This is like an inner conversation. But
it's a personal journey, a very personal journey, you know, this whole thing. It's Owl, can you please stop or come in or go?
But yeah, it's different for everybody, and I respect anybody else's journey and trials and inner conversations that I had. But once again, I go back to, at the end of the day, this is not like juiced or unjuiced. This is like, can I live from love? Can I respect others and their point of view? Can I see unity where there's division? Can I have trust where there's fear? Can I hold a vision of the higher? Right now, there's two parallel dimensions sitting on each other. The one where humanity woke up and we got liberated and we started living from a higher dimension. Like maybe once we higher our vibration, we will be able to communicate with our alien family, and they'll give us the consciousness technology that will help us clean the planet and make everything feel better. But on that same parallel reality, there's the other parallel reality where, yeah, we all bought into the control of the government, and maybe we got taken down some kind of weird technocratic dystopia where they got enough of their technology incorporated into us and we can't seem to escape it. So those two realities are here right now, and they're starting to break up, and I really gotta vibrate the higher one. Well, I want to go to the higher parallel reality, and I want to bring as many people I can with it. I can't do it by going up to a person and be like, hey, believe like me. I gotta trust them that if they choose to just vibrate and love and believe that we deserve better as a planet, that they will also go there. So I'm just trying the best for myself and hoping for the best. And
we're very similar, because that's the message I've been really like hammering home is it really is a level of like forgiveness and love and looking into your own heart. Like, I was weird that, because they're firing the firemen and the nurses here in California right now. And so I was down at Owl and I went down to support the firemen that were getting let go. And we were, marching through, walking through the streets of Beverly Hills. And there was people that I wouldn't say were part of us, because they were like bullhorning in close proximity to people eating their food they were calling them sheep and this and that. And I was like, this is totally inappropriate. And it was interesting. I made a whole video about it yesterday. Was at a certain point, I was defending those people because they were being aggressed upon by people in our protest group. And I was like, if we don't stand up for the sheeple being aggressed upon, we're no different than the people we say we're trying to take on. Like it's very coming from, if we're not operating out of love right now, I think all is lost. And I'm firmly convinced that love conquers all, and that is all we have to do is our catchphrase on my channel is hold the line, diamond souls. About this whole thing is hold the line, diamond souls, and don't cash in your chips on anger and negativity and harassment and all of these things, which again, it makes like the human form feels a little bit powerless about it, right? Like, I need to go do something. That person there, I need to tell them they're totally ridiculous and they're part of the problem.
Right. Well, but I know there's anger, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I know that I have to leave that in here and deal with it in here, because the reason they're doing that to this thing is fear, right? They're fear of our love energy, because they're such lower dimensional controller vampire dimension creatures that they live off of that, right? So I have to go, and my job is to go be loving and kind to all the beings out there, because who do I know? They might be just that close to waking to the truth. And yet here you come screaming at them, you're sheep. Like, and they're like, nah, back to sleep,
you
right?
Push them away, and you made it harder, and you made the gap between us even bigger, and then they'll want to like attack some of us. Like, I understand the reason why like some people in our side of the perspective can be mad and act angry against the others, because we're being accosted a lot, we're being insulted, we're being pressurized. It's getting really, it's kind of hard, you know.
Tense up in Canada with that sort of an energy, because it's still on the background down here.
I don't hang out with a lot of. I've never hanged out with dummies.
Yeah, I get it.
That's a judgmental thing to say, but I guess the people that I attract in my life, once the scenario played out, all of them could see through the lies.
Yes.
And I'd say like, I don't know, like a good 70% didn't get juiced, and those who did get juiced did it as in like, oh, I didn't really think about it. It's just something I wanted to get out of the way, or I want to hang out with my family and I don't fear it. But none of them are like, oh, I got juiced and I'm proud, and you got to get juiced too, or don't come next close to me because you unjuiced person is going to get me. And so I don't have those kinds of people in my life very much at all, like maybe like 1%. And it's, you know, I'd rather not talk about it.
Well, that's why I again wanted to compare notes with you up there, because I very much the same thing, right? Like I've only had one negative interaction this entire thing involving that, and it was from a visibly like scared cashier who had just, this was early on, you could tell she'd just been isolated in her own fear. But brother, like I don't like, the weird thing that I find interesting energetically is I don't relate. I don't know what it is to fear your own body, to fear my fellow I have no comprehension of what it is that they must be experiencing. I try not to figure it out either on a certain level, but I do respect it in a thing, because I know that fear must be terrible, to fear your own body, right? To fear your own body and neighbor and community, and actually be so afraid of it all that you're hoping that the darkest entities on the planet will come to your rescue. And
I don't know if it's like fearing their own body. I think it's more like the fear of suffering and death. Okay. A lot of people have never really looked at death and dealt with it. They're just kind of like, oh, that's for later when I'm old and stuff. And all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, this thing could touch me and I could die, or my loved ones could die. And that is something very scary to anybody. And it's totally understandable. Like that 1% person that I told you that has been a little bit unreasonable on his levels is because he's got kids and he doesn't want his kids to be hurt. So that love for it comes from good intention. It comes from love. But yeah, the fear got out of control. Sometimes you just kind of gotta like know your spiritual power and know that if you walk through your life knowing that you'll be okay, you're going to manifest that. Like, this is how I roll personally. And I'm not like this cocky, super confident guy. Like I'm going to be secure in my own right, but I feel like I'm protected and I'll be okay. And I've flown maybe like 20 to 30 times this year already. I've been down to Peru for many months. I hanged out with a ton of people there. I went to the States. I did a tour where I probably was like in a ton of different cities with a ton of different people. Never, you know, I'm not a reckless person, but, you know, I lived a very free life and I never really got anything. And just to confirm, once I got here, I got my blood tested and never I got anything. And I'm like, am I lucky? Or is this thing not really out there as much as they say it is? Or do I have some invisible force field that's some kind of like spiritual protection and angels that kind of like make it that those things don't come my way? I don't know. I don't have the answer. But either way, I think the vibration of like confidence that you will be okay no matter what, it makes that happen. You attract what you believe and what you've been to me.
Absolutely. And you know, on that, it's very just on the more practical thing, kind of coming towards the end is so as the winter closes up in your zone and the walls kind of close in with obviously a government body that's bent on very heavy control mechanisms. What does a free spirit think like, is it hold your ground where you are in some city, or is it to really just liquidate and go? I mean, I'm asking personally because I debate it constantly of like,
yeah. Well,
you know,
in Cali, you're good. Even if you like got your home and you got a backyard, you could grow some food.
yes,
You got sun all around. In Canada, it's already too cold to grow food. We do depend on supermarkets. I'm in an island, Montreal's an island in a river. So we do depend on the flow of food. I'm stocking up, I'm getting things just in case.
so you're gonna ride it out in the winter up in Montreal.
I hope not. Like, I hope that I get, like, basically right now, my focus is my paintings. I'm not gonna run away. I'm not gonna like act from fear, like, oh shit, scared, run away. No, it's like, no. You got some paintings to finish. Finish your painting, finish your missions. Am I okay? Did I do the things I gotta do in Montreal now? Everything's good. Okay, now I'm ready to go. That could be November, December, January. When that time comes and I'm ready to go, I'll look at what the rules are. If the rules say I can't move, I'll take it as it comes and make the most out of it and find freedom in my own heart and keep on doing more art and work here and holding space for my Montreal community. If I'm allowed to move, I will go to Peru and I'll tour the States again, probably, because that's where I paint my murals.
Are you a Canadian citizen?
Yeah.
Peruvian?
Both.
Oh, okay. You have dual citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very, I there's a part of me on that thing, right? Like on that thing is sometimes I realize wherever I go, there I am. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, it seems very global in its intent, whatever that is. And then I also think about, the part of me like hangs in, again, I was down with these firefighters yesterday, right? And their families and their children. And you stand there and you realize that, like, yeah, how many one person's not being here equals nobody being here kind of thing. And then who are these people that, I think a lot about these, again, as a sensitive being, right? Like, I don't just sit in my own, I live a pretty isolated life in my backyard, my mountain bike, my skateboard, my surfboard, my son and our Legos and homeschooling and the whole thing. Like, I don't really touch it that much. But as a sensitive being, like, I feel the energy of these people that don't have that even ability to debate that concept, right? Like, they're in the machine, in the matrix, and they're like, whoa, like, and I go, if I leave, how much am I abandoning them to the sinking ship? And then I go, well, like, get up on deck too. There's a very metaphysical energy right now of love and caring about. I truly care about my fellow passengers on this spaceship, and it breaks my heart, not for the ones that have chosen their path, for the ones that haven't chosen their path, that want to choose their path, that are trying to make it to a point where their path, and again, I guess they've chosen their path too, but you get what I'm saying?
I think once the boosters start happening, like, I think a lot of people kind of like got the juice just because it's like, okay, I'll get it. Leave me alone now. I just want to keep on living my life. But once the boosters comes, like, what again?
Yeah.
And maybe they'll go for the third one. But once the fourth one and the fifth one come, it's like, is this thing even work, or what is this thing? And maybe more of these side effects will become more and more obvious. Is like, what are we doing to ourselves? As to resonate what you said, like, I got all these options. I got the power. Like, I could sell my Montreal apartment and put everything in a container, move to the States, maybe move to the mountains of Cusco, Peru, and create a little center for refugees who want to be left alone and just live in nature and not, like, a lot of us just feel like, I want to get the fuck out, but it's hard to do in cold places like Canada or like if you're not allowed in the States, like us, you know, me and my friends as Canadians, we're not allowed in the States. I got a work visa for a few years, so I'm chilling, but there's not a lot of options for a lot of people. So I was like, oh, maybe I should duck out and go and buy myself a refugee center in the mountains and create that opportunity. Or maybe I should stay in Montreal and fight it out with everybody else and suffer through the cold and the hunger just to, you know, be united in this, like my community, like, and I don't know which is the right one. Or maybe I should just take care of myself, go to the States, work, make sure that I'm like financially taken care of, because I can't help anybody if I'm broke and lose my apartment and let the great reset actually happen, which I guess is the end goal of this whole situation. So there's a lot of options and I'm playing it day by day. And just having trust that whatever I choose is the correct path just because I chose it, and not doubting myself so much. But yeah, my mind can't stop thinking some days.
I know, brother. I know. The one thing that I've part of that's helped me a lot is I've tried to go back to a more 1920s mindset, which embraces winter and the seasonal sky clock, if you will, and goes, okay, so we bring it down, we tamp it down, and then so I think this is a spiritual winter and a journey. And those of us who are ready to plant the seeds of a new reality this spring, I think this is the test of a lifetime right here. And I am grateful for it, and I do feel very positive. I don't have a negative perception of any of this. Like, I mean, I see it as very negative, but in my heart of hearts, I do feel the seeds already in the dirt in the spring, bringing the new life to the surface. And I'm very, very hopeful. I think that at the end of the day, is like you said, as an international traveler like yourself, is wherever you go, there's just people that want to picnic with their families on a Sunday at the end of the day, you know? And
They're just supposed to be happy. I don't see a lot of people who want to fight and conflict. We go that way because we're in some kind of desperate energy sometimes, but we all just want to be chilling and comfortable. I really wish we can do that eventually, and I think it's possible. And I don't think it takes killing half of the planet in order for us to find our peace and harmony.
No.
So I don't believe in that. I know, like, of course, we gotta be responsible with our resources and share them and take care of the planet. But you know, we don't have to like murder half of the planet in order to make that happen. And there's something that people will say like, oh, he's going down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole. But it's like, yeah, but we've known for a while that, you know, this is how they've been thinking. Like, it's been very open that they want to bring down the population of the earth, and this seems like
they've literally printed it on paper so you can read it if so desired.
It's their intention. So
but again, to stave us off of that as we wrap this up, because I know you got to go, it's late there, and you know, for me, my main thing was I wanted to just reach out to you in love, because I do know you're in a colder, darker place and in a different, like, walls closing in, and something was, your journey lately has been very, very heartfelt from my perspective of watching you, what you've gone through the last, you know, period of time. And that's why
a rough year.
Yeah, and I really wanted to reach out because I heard it when you were talking about the parents and the thing, and your views on it. And I was like, okay, because my audience, we need to share this with each other, because we are holding each other together on a level. And I have much respect for you, brother, on your journey and how open you've been with it. And your art's beyond my comprehension. I love it. And you know, one thing, if I could put a request in there, you used to send out your SoundCloud mixes.
Uh-huh.
And I haven't gotten one in a long time. And I don't know.
I make one a year. And this is the time of the year where I make it. I gotta be in Montreal in my studio with my desktop. I've been buying new records for it. Like I got a lot of records, but there's certain things I want to say and I need the right song. So for that, I need to buy the record. So every day this week, I bought online all these records that were like the final pieces of the puzzle to what I want to say with my next mixtape. So every day this week, I've been receiving all these brand new records. You might have seen it in my story posts and stuff. And I'm gearing up for it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
But I somehow I fell off the list. So
Well, if you go to Positive Creation SoundCloud, you'll at least find the one I did last year.
no, because that used to be one of those weird things that in the heyday of YouTube, I would get this playlist from you, and I treasure them, and it's, you know what Bob Marley said, the music hits, you feel no pain, right? And
right, it's very healing and makes us feel understood, and you can really pass on. Like I can paint some things, but people might misunderstand what I'm trying to say, or it might be my world of imagination that relates to me, maybe not to them. And yeah, there's some paintings that could be illustrations to say specific things, but a song with words that says a specific thing is a lot clearer sometimes. So I'm picking my specific songs to say specific things through this next offering, which will be 2 hours, and it's always vinyl. Like my rule is like my mixtapes are 100% vinyl. So some songs are really like some records cost me $100, and I'm just like, oh, that's a lot for one record, but I really need that song in the mix, So I'm working at it right now. Then I grab the record, I save the song onto my computer as a file, and then I lay it out. So that will happen. That's one of the missions I got to do here in the next couple of months before I duck out. So. Yeah.
Well, Chris, I hope we do this again. I really enjoyed actually like communicating with you, because like I said, that you'll always be the dude who kept me company during the night I spent at the edge of Area 51 terrified.
Sounds very romantic. Thank you. The illusion.
Yeah. So thank you, brother, and stay sane and strong and beautiful and courageous up there in Montreal, and know that your brothers and sisters out here on Spaceship Earth were resonating with you, and we appreciate you.
Cool. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. All the best to you too and your family. And yeah, may you find the perfect path to be of better service.
That's it, brother. That's
it.
All right. Good night. Thank you.
All the best. Blessings.
Okay. Take it easy. All right, everyone. That was Chris Dyer, Positive Creations. And I hope you enjoyed that. It was sort of an impromptu. And I feel pretty good about it. That was a rad vibe, dude. And so I thank you for tuning in tonight, and pass it around, get it out there, because we are all in this together. So with that said, I'm out of here. Good night, and God bless. Use the name tags, and be kind to everyone.